I remember Live Aid, July 13th, 1985. I was only 16, but I remember waiting for the Beatles to appear at the end of the night. They were on the top of the bill, and it was so exciting. Out they came, four of them: John, Paul, George, and Ringo. Ran up onto the stage. I remember McCartney with his violin bass going, "Hello, best crowd I've ever seen. You're brilliant." And they all waved, and Lennon goes, "Yeah, you had a lovely bunch of lads." Well, they kicked into Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and then of course they followed it with a little help from my friends, which kind of sums up the Live Aid thing. And then they blazed into Get Back, and what else did they play? They did a little medley: Can't Buy Me Love, Ticket to Ride, and Help. And then they ended up with Let It Be, and it was fantastic. It really was. Yeah, probably the pinnacle of the 80s, without a doubt. Yeah, and I'm just dreaming because I'm just living in a fantasy. But I always asked the question in my head, especially as the years have gone on: what would have happened if the Beatles never split up? What would have happened if John Lennon was never murdered? Especially through the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, what would have happened? I guess there would have been no Wings, Paul McCartney's solo project. And I guess that the albums, or that they all wrote as solo artists, maybe they still would have done solo projects and stuff like that. But All Things Must Pass by George Harrison might have been amalgamated into a Beatles album. Imagine by Lennon would have been a Beatles project, I presume. They probably would have had maybe an album in 1971 or two, another one in 75, one in 78, one in 1980, and maybe not much in the 80s, but I presume you would have got the kind of, synthetic Beatles in the 80s with, all the click clack production that came out back then, all the synthesizers and stuff. It would have been interesting to, I guess it's kind of like, what if, but it's a fantastic thought because they were so prolific. And I wonder, like, if, people always say that, what if Elvis never died? Would the Beatles have been relevant in the 80s? I mean, all the Wings albums, there's probably, especially as they get on, like one or two good songs in each one. Singles were good from the albums, but it's a lot of kind of, middle of the road dross thrown in there. Some of Lennon's solo stuff is a bit strange. Double Fantasy, at the end of the day, there's some great singles from that. Woman is fantastic. Starting All Over. So yeah, it's hard to know. But anyway, apart from the fantasy, I present to you my Beatles collection on compact disc. The Beatles to me it was like, I guess they're like the universe. They were always there. When I was 4 or 5, back in the early 70s, the songs were on the radio all the time, and they were very catchy to get into your head. They were probably the first band that really got into my, my subconscious and stuff like that. A little bit after that, Paul Simon, his stuff really, really, really got into my head. But I remember singing the Beatles Hard Day's Night when I was about 4 or 5. I was coming up from a fun fair, coming home with my father. We were walking, and I kept singing it. And I love the part when it goes, "And when I get home to you," it's repeated. There's 2 lines there, and it's so catchy. And I said to him, who sings that song? And he said, "Oh, the Beatles." And I said, "Where are they?" And he goes, "Well," he said, "they're gone." I said, "What?" I said, "What do you mean they're gone?" He said, "They were from." I said, "Where are they?" He said, "They were from Liverpool." And he said, "No, they're gone." And I was horrified, that the people that sang such a happy song were gone. The band is split up and stuff like that. He said they split up. So, like, to me, it's, you can hear people singing a happy song together, a gang of guys. I don't know how many was there, you know, I didn't really, but yeah, I was quite taken aback by it, and I felt quite, you know, a little bit, yeah. I just could never understand. It was almost like, oh no. Right, the first album for Parlophone was titled Please Please Me. This is the 2009 edition. These are the bulk of what I have. They're remastered. I think they originally came out in 1987. I've had a few of those discs. I don't know, I prefer the sound of these ones. One thing I will say about these is that they are, you know, digipacks or card packs, and you've got the line here on the side with the name of the band and stuff going down it. I was never really mad about that. McCartney did it as well with some of his solo stuff, where you get a small picture and a white frame. And yeah, I just prefer, you know, these are slightly rectangular, and you know, this is the actually LP cover. So yeah, it would have to be stretched to fit, like, so it's a bit unusual. But this is the way they are. Stereo was up here as well. Obviously the vinyl had mono and stereo. But yeah, this is their debut. I like this album. I think it's quite fresh. I saw Her Standing There is pretty good. Ask Me Why. Please Please Me. Love Me Do. That's a great track as well. Great bass line on it. Very, very catchy. Do You Want to Know a Secret? That's a little bit... It's one you hear, but I don't think it was on any of the hits albums and stuff, like, but it's quite catchy. And then Twist and Shout, that's a cover. They did some covers in the early days. Like, there's a Bacharach song here, Baby It's You. But these as well have got a little mini documentary on QuickTime and stuff if you put them into a PC. Yeah, the artwork is nice and stuff like that. They're a bit of an improvement on the 1987s, because, you know, you get this kind of artwork and stuff like that. I'm not really going to go into the sound quality too much, because, you know, stuff from this era in stereo, you get the bass over here and the drums over here, and you know, it's not easy to listen to on headphones. It's a bit imbalanced, and they're fixing that at the moment with the demix technology and stuff like. But yeah, there's just the sleeve notes and stuff in here, and some photos, and there's great photographs and stuff. But you know, that's when you get the recording notes and stuff like that, and famous photograph at the EMI House, Manchester Square, London. That was used a few times over the years. What else is in here? Probably oh yeah, there was a box set came out as well, the 11 CD mono, 14 CD stereo box. And then you had Love as well. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, I've read a lot of things about these remasters. Some people don't mind them, some people don't like them. As well as that, people don't like the disc. It kind of gets stuck inside in the pouch, you know. But, you know, what can you do? Album number 2 is With the Beatles. This is a cool cover, in fairness. You know, it's quite arty for its time. Yeah, pretty cool, I must say. It's quite serious as well. A lot of bands have copied this since. Yeah, there's a lot of green on the photograph as well. I'm not sure if it was taken all in one go. It looks like it was a kind of a composition, but it's hard to tell. I'm sure people will understand, or will have a lot of information about that. There you go. This one, it's a good album as well. Yeah, I like it. Won't be long. All I've got to do. All My Loving. That's a great track as well. There's a Harrison song here, Don't Bother Me. Little Child, Till There Was You. Please Mr. Postman, that's a cover. Roll Over Beethoven, that's also a cover. Hold Me Tight, You Really Got a Hold on Me, I Want to Be Your Man. Devil in Her Heart, Not a Second Time. Money, That's What I Want. Not as many hit singles from this one, but still a good album. Again, you know, you've got the disc inside in the little pouch here. You've got the parlophone in the booklet. Sleeve notes and stuff. Yeah, but with the demix technology, I reckon they'll all be out again. You know, I mean, these are 2009. These are 15 years old now. And before that, you had 1987. So, yeah, I'd say we're nearly due another lash. And they'll be demixed. Next up is A Hard Day's Night. This was the title of a movie, a film that the band were in. And I don't think I've actually ever watched this, you know. It's one of those ones that you either like or you hate. It's another parlophone. And yeah, you know, it's a pretty famous movie. They kind of act as themselves, I guess. So it's a little bit, it's not something you're going to watch every day of the week. But yeah, it's a great shot. I love that photo. Harrison. They all look so young. That's the thing. They all look so young. And yeah, it's so long ago now. Hard Day's Night is great. I should have known better if I fell. It's another good one. Kind of reminds me kind of the Everly Brothers. Happy to Dance with You and I Love Her. That's a kind of an acoustic track. Tell Me Why. Can't Buy Me Love. It's another great one. Anytime I'll Cry Instead. Things You Did Today. When I Get Home. You Can't Do That. I'll Be Back. So yeah, the first half of the album is the strongest, really, and then you've got the rest. I don't think all the songs on this were used in the film. Yeah, I see from the soundtrack, first 7 were, and then they just filled it up with other stuff. Next up is Beatles for Sale. Yeah, this one is, yeah, it's kind of not as happy as Hard Day's Night. It's a bit more sober. Again, the disc is the parlophone disc, so I'm not even going to bother rooting it out. But this one, yeah, I like the album and stuff like that, but it doesn't have the kind of urgency of its predecessors. No Reply, I'm a Loser, Babies in Black, Rock and Roll Music, I'll Follow the Sun. They're still doing covers here, you know, another Chuck Berry one there, Rock and Roll Music. Mr. Moonlight, Kansas City, Hey Hey Hey, that's a cover. Mr. Moonlight's a cover as well. 8 Days a Week, yeah, I like that one, that's a great track, yeah. Words of Love, Honey Don't, Every Little Thing, I Don't Want to Spoil the Party, What You Doing. Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby. Yeah, this isn't a very eventful album at all. You know, it's not very eventful. It's probably easy to overlook. I think at this stage they, you know, we're kind of falling into a little bit of water threading, to be honest. Then along came Help, and this is a strong album. I really like this one as well. I like the cover; it's really cool. You've got Help, and that's one of their best songs. The Night Before. You've got The Hide Your Love Away. I really like that as well. Kind of reminds me of Dylan a bit. You know, Lennon was definitely influenced by Dylan and stuff. I Need You, Another Girl. You're Going to Lose That Girl. Ticket to Ride. That's another great track. Act Naturally. It's Only Love. That's another good one. You Like Me Too Much. Tell Me What You See. I've just seen a face yesterday. That's a fantastic song. A really sad ballad too. And then you got Dizzy, Miss Lizzie. But yeah. So they kind of, the pace continues on this one. Ringo with a shell. So there you go. Yeah, they're in the Bahamas. This was Was there a film? Was this part of a film as well? I just really, you know, I really can't remember. But I kind of, like I said, I've been into the Beatles all my life, but I've only started buying the stuff in the last decade. Now I have it all, but I have a lot of books as well that I need to get around to read. But they're a fascinating case study, you know, really are. You could actually live off the Beatles catalogue, you know, for months on end without listening to anything else, because everything is in it, you know. It's, yeah. Next up is Rubber Soul. To me, this is the first Beatles album I ever bought in 1988. I bought an old mono vinyl copy, and I still have it, and it sounds fantastic. This one, for me personally, it's got 14 tracks, and every single one of them are fantastic. There are no covers on this. It's a fantastic album. It's you know, I think it's the pinnacle of the first 5 years. Really is. It kind of sums it all up. This is really the Beatles coming into their own as extraordinary songwriters. Drive My Car, I love it. Norwegian Wood, fantastic song. You Won't See Me, Nowhere Man, Think For Yourself, The Word. Michelle, again, an incredible song. I think McCartney nearly played everything on that. It sounds like him. I think he did a whole lot on his own as well. I think it was supposed to be a type of a Chet Atkins style piece. It was kind of like 1950s style slight country jazzy stuff, and it ended up being a kind of a European flavour to it. What Goes On, brilliant. Girl, I'm Looking Through You, In My Life, Wait, If I Needed Someone, Run For Your Life. Yeah, Lennon as well really comes into his own on this, you know. Some of the lyrics are a bit snipey. Girl and stuff like that, or Run For Your Life. Yeah, it's a great album, and it's the one I've listened to the most out of them all, and I really do like it. Yeah, it's a cracker. I love it. I've had the original CD of this as well, the 1987. I think this one sounds better. The bass is a bit more plump. But yeah, fantastic album. I think that if you just went out into a shop and wanted to buy a Beatles album, I mean, everybody probably says Sgt. Pepper's or Revolver, but I think for simplicity and a stripped down sound, Rubber Soul is the one. Next up is Revolver. I think Rubber Soul was the end of the first era of the Beatles, really, and then Revolver is a new era where you have more complex songwriting and more diverse songwriting. Rubber Soul, a lot of the songs kind of fit in almost the same style, you know, guitar, bass, drums. It's like a bar band or something. But Revolver, the game changes. It's just very mature. It's leading the way to Sgt. Pepper's, like, there is no doubt about that. Again, we're sticking with the Parlophone yellow. Yeah, I'd say when Revolver came out, it must have been a shock to some people, you know. It's I reckon, yeah, it must have been a shock. Like, the production, the songs, Taxman, like Eleanor Rigby. I mean, like, there was nothing ever like that. I mean, it's almost baroque or something. Or I'm Only Sleeping, Love You Too, Here, There and Everywhere. I mean, that harks back to the early stuff. Yellow Submarine, She Said, Good Day Sunshine, And Your Bird Can Sing, For No One. That's fantastic. I really love that song. It's, you know, a loveless marriage, really. Dr. Robert, I Want to Tell You, Got to Get You Into My Life. I like that as well. Yeah, that's a good song. I like it. Tomorrow Never Knows. Yeah, there's a lot of, you know, Far Eastern influences in this one. Yeah, but this was a game changer. There's no way around that, you know. I think Brian Wilson, the Beach Boys, heard Rubber Soul, and then he wanted to top it, and he came up with Pet Sounds, and then you know, arguably one of the best albums ever written. But the Beatles came up with Revolver, and then I think he heard this and went, oh, I won't be able to top it or something. And of course, Smile was meant to be the next project, and you know, we all know what happened after that. And if you don't, go and look it up. It's fantastic. It's a great story. But Revolver, you know, I prefer listening to Rubber Soul if I had the two of them back to back. You know, Rubber Soul's easier to listen to, and it's a happier album, and it flows nicer. But Revolver is kind of Beatles Mark II, and it's certainly, yeah, the gears are shifted, and now they're heading into their second phase, really, where they become far more complex and far more innovative. This is the 2022 edition. It's the album, and then there's extra tracks on it, but you know, things like Paperback Writer, Rain, different takes of songs on it. It was a box set as well. This was produced using the remix technology. Giles Martin was it Jackson, the guy who did the Beatles documentary a couple of years ago. It's a new stereo mix by Giles Martin and Sam Oakell. Nowadays, it's just the extra disc. This one, it sounds like it used to sound like it was recorded in the 60s. You know, the stereo again is, you know, the one-sided type stereo. But now it sounds like it was recorded in the 70s. You know, the drums in the middle, bass more solid. Yeah, it's worth investigating, you know what I mean? It's certainly worth investigating. Some people don't like that. Some people like it, but you know, an album, you don't go out and remix it and remaster it to make it better or to make it easier to listen to. You do it to enhance it, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, you know, but it's worth, you know, fans will buy it because they have to hear the differences. And I like the new mixes, you know. Obviously there's a bit more compression in some of them, there's a bit of bass in this, but you know, take it for what it's worth. These are historical recordings, and you know, sometimes people just don't like people tampering with the past, which is fair enough, but there's a huge market and appetite for Beatles, and they have to feed the monster. Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. This was a big album in its day. It still is very influential. It's probably, a lot of people say it's their high watermark, their high creativity point. It was like no other album, from engineering to the way the songs were written and stuff like that. It is a good album. It's fantastic. You've got the title track, Blazes In, and then you've got With a Little Help from My Friends, which is an incredibly popular song. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, LSD, Getting Better, Fixing a Hole, She's Leaving Home, Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite, kind of stuff here like this kind of acid, you know, like with kind of lyrics where like we don't know what's going on, you know. It's a psychedelic rock, Within You, Without You. It's kind of Indian influences, you know. I think they met the Maharishi or whatever his name was. When I'm 64, again, obviously McCartney melody, you know, it sounds like something from a musical, you know. Like Lennon was kind of straightforward, McCartney was kind of more like Cole Porter, or, you know, he was into music hall and stuff like that. His melodies are fantastic. That's where they differ. Lennon is quite simple, but Lennon is quite cutting as well. You know, they fed off each other. Lovely Rita, Good Morning, Good Morning, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band Reprise, and then of course we have the amazing A Day in the Life. That's a fantastic song. It's just like, it's from no time, you know what I mean? It's just timeless classic. These are cutouts that came with the vinyl. You know, the sleeve on this as well has got a lot put into it. You know, there's lots of famous people. Obviously just facsimiles or masks and stuff. But yeah, Peppers is yeah. You know, one of the most important albums of the last 60 years. And make no mistake about that. And here, of course, we've got the what have we? The 2 CD anniversary edition. Yeah, I got this out of curiosity. This is As You Have Never Heard It Before. Of course, it's got new stereo mix, and there's some material from the sessions as well. Definitely worth getting your hands on. I like it. The mix is good. It's warm and it's nice. Lots of things here from the sessions. Penny Lane obviously is one. Strawberry Fields. These were singles that I think that weren't on the album. But the rest of the stuff is usually, and like all these things, part of the sessions, different takes with different arrangements. So yeah, that's the inner. You've got the parlophone here. I think it's identical for both. You know, yeah, and you got the sticker card and stuff with the, well, they were meant to be cut out. And then of course the booklet, and there's a lot of reading in this one. Yeah, a great shot. So forward from Paul McCartney. This is from 2017. Path to Pepper and all that kind of stuff, like how it came about. Yeah, setup of the studio shot for the album cover. Names out everybody. Yeah, you know, these are definitely worth grabbing because you know, there's a lot in there for you to get your teeth into. And yeah, I would recommend them. You know, what I find about things like that, you're just better off buying them when you see them because they kind of go to printing and they're hard to get. But Peppers, yeah, it's a great album. Though it's not what I listen to a lot, I will admit. I think I've heard so much of it so many times. But you know, the thing about the Beatles is all of a sudden you could just get back into one album and listen to it for 6 months non-stop. That's how hypnotic and how magnetic their music is. Next up is The Magical Mystery Tour. Now this was an EP back in the 60s, and I don't think it was a vinyl LP until the 70s. I think, I can't remember. Capitol in the US, and I forgot to say as well, Capitol in the USA released the Beatles albums as they came out, but they have different track listings and stuff like that. So some people, fanatics, will collect the Capitols as well. You can also get the Capitols on compact disc. You can get them, I think, in mono and stereo. You know what I mean? With the Beatles, you need big pockets because if you want everything, you're going to pay for it, and that's it. I don't have any mono collections. I'd like to get them in mono just to have them. I'd like to get the US as well, but the US editions they have different covers in some circumstances as well. But Magical Mystery Tour, that was another movie, and this is Capitol here now. Because I think it was originally a USA release in the 70s when it did come out on vinyl, full size 12-inch. Yeah, so yeah, I remember seeing this on TV. It was a movie. I think they go around England on a bus or something like that. Lots of quirky and weird acid style stuff. Yeah, it's of its time. But yeah, there's some good stuff on it as well. Stuff that, you know, didn't go anywhere else. You have Magical Mystery Tour, Fool on the Hill, Flying, Blue Jay Way, Your Mother Should Know, I Am the Walrus. One of my favorite Beatles songs. The lyrics are kind of strange, but I love it. And what's that? No, You're Not, Said Little Nicola. Plus these other selections. Hello, Goodbye. I really like that. That's a great track. Yeah. And then we also have Strawberry Fields, Penny Lane, their Sgt. Pepper sessions, Baby You're a Rich Man, All You Need Is Love, and then there's a documentary on this disc as well. But yeah, it's not bad, you know. I just had to have it because, you know, it fits into the rest of the collection. Yeah, like I said, there's some good stuff on it. Next up is the Beatles. This is universally referred to as the White Album. Yeah, this is a different Beatles again, really. You know, I think from Rubber Soul to Revolver to Peppers to the Magical Mystery Tour, the band had changed a lot in basically 2 years, and all of a sudden you have the White Album, which is a double, their first double, and there's a lot of music on this, and I always felt that it would have been a great single album. There's just too much stuff on it. You know, it feels long, but some of their best work is on it. You've got Back in the USSR. That was almost kind of a knock against California Girls by the Beach Boys. Dear Prudence, Glass Onion, Obla Di Obla Da, kind of a dancehall reggae type thing. Wild Honey Pie, the continuing story of Bungalow Bill. Some of that stuff is a little bit silly, you know. While My Guitar Gently Weeps, that's another great track. Happiness is a Warm Gun, that's great. Martha, My Dear. I'm So Tired. Blackbird, that's a nice little acoustic thing that's played by nearly every guitarist on the planet when they go to a music shop. Piggies, Rocky Raccoon. I think that's a kind of they're kind of taking the mickey out of Bob Dylan. You know, it's just a joke, really. Don't Pass Me By. Why Don't We Do It on the Road? I Will. Julia. It's a nice track as well. Birthday, Your Blues, Mother Nature's Son. Everybody's got something to hide except me and my monkey. Sexy Sadie. Helter Skelter. Yeah, I love Helter Skelter. What a track. Long, Long, Long. Revolution 1. Is that the one that goes on and on and on for ages? Yeah, that's a waste of time, you know, really. There's one that, or is it Revolution number 9, that just keeps going and going. Honey Pie, Savoy Truffle, Cry Baby Cry, Revolution 9, Good Night. So yeah, this is the one of the early versions of the album, with the white discs, the old EMI style. Yeah, and you've all the lyrics and stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, it's sprawling, you know, there's a lot in there. There's a lot of music on it. And then we have this edition. It's the anniversary edition, I guess. So this has been remixed, and there's an extra disc. What is this? Escher. The demos from George Harrison's house, I think. And then you have booklet with new sleeve notes and stuff like that, so it's pretty comprehensive. Yeah, the hair is getting longer here, and the beards and mustaches are coming. So this is kind of the hippie era of the Beatles. And yeah, I really like the mix though. It makes it a bit better to listen to, I will say. I liked the mix on this. It sounds fantastic. Yeah, I do like it. I do. Poster as well. So yeah, it's the anniversary 3 CD, new stereo mixed by Giles Martin. Yeah, so there you go. Again, definitely worth picking up. Next up is Yellow Submarine. This was an animated movie back in the day, and this is the soundtrack. Again, I just got this just to have it. You know, there's a few odds and sods on here that are not on albums. Yellow Submarine, Only an Ordinary Song, all together now. Hey Bulldog, It's All Too Much, All You Need Is Love. And then you've got orchestral stuff here that was done by Mr. George Martin. So this is a collector's piece. I listen to it and I don't mind it. It's not bad, you know. It's enjoyable, but you know, it's not a crucial Beatles album. You know, there's just some art and sleeve notes and stuff like that. Okay for kids to get into, I guess. But yeah, it's not essential. But you know, if you want to complete the collection, you're going to need Yellow Submarine. Next up is Let It Be. Yeah, Let It Be. I love. Great album. I've had original CDs of this, and I've also had the 2009, which I sold like a fool. Yeah, you should keep them all, really. I don't know why I sold it, but because this one is the anniversary edition with the extra disc and stuff. But I like this album. I really do. It's last in the catalog because it came out after Abbey Road, but it's actually recorded before it. And yeah, this is mature Beatles now, you know. It sounds you know, as if they're having fun, like, you know, Two of Us, Dig a Pony. I really like Dig a Pony. Love the riff on that. Across the Universe, great track. I Me Mine, that's fantastic. Dig It. Let It Be, it's another classic. Maggie May, I've Got a Feeling. Yeah, that kind of drags a bit. I'm not really mad about that. One After 909, I like that. The Long and Winding Road, another classic. For You Blue, that's a George Harrison. I love that song. And then Get Back, which is another stomper. Yeah, it's a good album. You know, it's a great album. There's 2 discs in this. You've extra stuff, again, mainly from the sessions and stuff like that. You know, so yeah, worth having. But I wish I kept the 09. Yeah, I have a habit of getting rid of stuff when I get newer ones, you know. It's just good to keep them, to compare them and stuff like that. Yeah. So there's McCartney. This is around the time as well that the On the Roof, which is amazing, you know what I mean? Just to watch that is just incredible. The band up on the roof. This harks back to the Please Please Me album. They just went back to the EMI office, and you know, in a few years the band looked completely different. They'd grown from boys to men. Yeah, so some good stuff on this. So yeah, again, you know, I kind of do at heart, I prefer the later Beatles stuff overall, if I have a choice, because it's more complex and stuff like that. But the early stuff is infectious, you know what I mean? It just, the hits are just, you know, the early years from 62 to 65, 66, all those hits are absolutely fantastic. Next up is Abbey Road. This was the final one before they called it a day. This is the 2 CD anniversary edition. I had the 09. It was one of the first ones from the 09 series I bought back in 09 or 2010. And again, of course, I got rid of it like a fool. I shouldn't have done that. I need a rap on the knuckles. Abbey Road is a great album. You know, I really like it. It's complex. There's a lot to listen to. It just kind of goes to show, if they stay together for another year, what would they have came up with? Come Together, that's fantastic. Something, fantastic. Maxwell Silver Hammer, that's a great track. Really is. Octopus's Garden, that's a little kind of a childish and stuff, like kind of a country song. I Want You, She's So Heavy. Yeah, it's blues, but it's quite complex. Yeah, Here Comes the Sun, fantastic. Because, and then I Love You, Never Give Me Your Money, Sun King, Me and Mr. Mustard, Polythene Pam, She Came In Through the Bathroom Window, Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight, that's another good one. The End, Her Majesty. The second part of the album is all kind of like a suite. It kind of all melts into itself. There's extra tracks on this one. And there's an extra disc in there. And that's the booklet, and there's plenty there as well. Again, worth having. You know, I think it's yeah, it's definitely worth going out and buying. Well, when did this come out? 2019. It was on the heels of the White Album, really. So yeah, definitely worth getting. You know you want it, you know you need it, you better buy it. Yeah. Next up, in 1973, we had the Beatles, 1962 to 66. Some people call this the Red Album. And it's a blockbuster. It really is. Fantastic. This is an 09. And this one has leave notes. And not only that, but it has some of the greatest songs in history on here. You know, Love Me Do, Please Please Me, For Me to You, She Loves You, I Want to Hold Your Hand, All My Loving, Can't Buy Me Love, Hard Day's Night, and I Love Her, 8 Days a Week, I Feel Fine, Ticket to Ride Yesterday, Help, You've Got to Hide Your Love Away, We Can Work It Out, Day Tripper, Drive My Car, Norwegian Wood, This Bird Has Flown, Nowhere Man, Michelle, In My Life, Girl, Paperback Writer, Eleanor Rigby, Yellow Submarine. This is one of the greatest hits album in history. Enough said. Also, in 1973, this one came out. The Beatles, 1967 to 1970. So this is the second part of the saga. Again, this is the 2009. Indispensable, really. You have to have this. Lyrics are in there as well. Yeah, you've got Strawberry Fields Forever, Penny Lane, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, With Little Help from My Friends, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, A Day in the Life, All You Need Is Love, I Am the Walrus, Hello, Goodbye, Fool on the Hill, Magical Mystery Tour, Lady Madonna, Hey Jude, Revolution. So it ties up some of the non-album tracks as well, which is good. Back in the USSR, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, Obladi, Oblada, Get Back, Don't Let Me Down, The Ballad of John and Yoko, Old Brown Shoe, Here Comes the Sun, Come Together, Something, Octopus's Garden, Let It Be, Across the Universe, The Long and Winding Road. Yeah, indispensable, really. I mean, yeah, you can't go wrong. Like this Red and the Blue, this is called the Blue, are incredible. Right, Red, 62, 66. This one is from 1993. That was the first time that these came out on compact disc, believe it or not. And they came in the fat box. 13 tracks per disc. Digitally remastered. I've compared this to the new one. Some of the old mixes are a little bit thinner sounding. The new ones sound a bit, more buffed up and stuff. And they sound great. But funny enough, the spirit of the Beatles seems to be in the mixes, the stereo mixes from when they were like I said, bass on one side, drums on the other. There's something about them. I can't explain it to you. Maybe we're used to hearing that. Some of these are mono as well. Same as the 2009. The first 4 tracks are mono. These things. It's a fat box in red, custom red. So it's unique to this. But in this, all you do, there's some photographs, but you just get the lyrics. There's no sleeve notes whatsoever. Yeah, absolutely none. Only the lyrics. And and the 2 Apple discs. So now, here you go. You can pick these up pretty cheaply. It's good to have them, you know what I mean? They look good. And again, this is the Blue, 1967 to 1970. Fat box from 1993. Great collections. This one has got the custom blue inlay. Yeah, looks great. Some people collect these, they prefer these versions. Again, you only get the lyrics, photographs. There is no sleeve notes in this. But yeah, there you go. Past Masters. Now this is a quirky one. These came out in 1988. There was 2 volumes, volume 1 and 2. Came out in compact disc. It was kind of they were going through the back catalogue, and this is both volumes here, and it just rounds up some stuff that were singles and B-sides and stuff like that, and stuff for TV and stuff like. So, you know, you've Love Me Do original single version. Love Me Do originally, as far as I know, had a different drummer on it. But on the new version of the Greatest Hits, the red one, you've got Ringo Starr drumming on it. Yeah, I can't remember what happened there, but yeah, you can find out about it if you Google it or whatever. From Me to You, Thank You Girl, She Loves You, I'll Get You, I Want to Hold Your Hand, This Boy, and then Komm, Gib mir dein Hand, I Want to Hold Your Hand in German. Sei lieb dich. Long Tall Sally, I Call Your Name, Slow Down, Matchbox, I Feel Fine, She's a Woman, Bad Boy, Yes It Is, I'm Down. And then you got Disc 2, Day Tripper, We Can Work It Out, Paperback Writer, Rain, Lady Madonna, The Inner Light, Hey Jude, Revolution, Get Back with Billy Preston, Don't Let Me Down with Billy Preston, The Ballad of John and Yoko, Old Brown Shoe, Across the Universe, Let It Be, You Know My Name, Look Up the Number. So yeah, this is it's a kind of an oddity, you know. And like I said, the original albums had different. I think they were probably released on vinyl back then as well. But one had a white cover, and one had a black cover. Yeah, but you don't really see that here. And there were Past Masters Volume 1 and Volume 2. So yeah. Again, it's worth grabbing, you know what I mean? There is stuff here that's not on the albums, and yeah, it's a collector's piece. Next is Live at the BBC. This was originally released, I think, in 1994, and there's a lot of stuff on it. You've got 35 and 35, 71, is it? 71 tracks. And there's some good stuff in here, yeah. So collectors will be all over this, but this is the this is not the 2000, or sorry, the 1994 version. I think this is from 2013 or something, when they added it to the catalog. Yeah, there's a lot in here. Yeah, there's a lot. It goes through each track and stuff like that. And there's a lot of quirky stuff and a lot of covers and stuff as well. So yeah, these are kind of you know, things that you definitely want to be investigating, but they're not for the casual fan, you know. So yeah, lots of stuff here, lots of stuff to get your teeth into, and certainly worth investigation. This is volume 2 of BBC, but this is on air, and this one again, I think originally was 1996, I think, and then you've got this one here, which is 2013. I think there's bits of dialogue on this one, but there's a lot of tracks again. Yeah, lots of music, lots of stuff, and yeah, I think collectors definitely will want this. There's lots in here. There's like lots of producer notes and reading and stuff like. So I would say that these, I bought them just to have them. I'm not 100% familiar with them because I don't think I listen to them that much. But you know, if you want the catalog, you're going to have these. Next up is the Anthology. Right, back in '94, they decided that they were going to bring out an anthology of unreleased work and stuff like that, and they did. This series is fascinating, and I think by 1995 we got the first volume, and produced and directed by George Martin. There was also a visual, and there's lots of stuff here, usually live stuff, outtakes, you know, but really essential stuff for fans. There's a lot to read there as well. Yeah, I really enjoy these. Yeah, you can pick them up fairly cheaply as well. They're both double CD editions. Or the three volumes are, they amount to 6 compact discs. And yeah, they're definitely worth getting your hands on. This kind of goes back to the early days. There's speeches in here as well, you know, some talking and stuff like that. But this goes from, like, Free as a Bird is on it as well. That was I think it was a Lennon demo that they kind of tooled around with and spent ages trying to get right. Yeah, I always felt that Lennon demos they definitely weren't Beatles songs, but you know, it's a kind of a, they wanted to put it to, they wanted to bring it to light, I guess. But this one goes from the early days up as far as 8 Days a Week, Kansas City. Yeah, so yeah, it's up to the early albums. So Anthology number 2, I think this is my favorite one. Yeah, I like this one out of them all. This is kind of the mid-period. Real Love is on this. That was a new track as well. That was retooled. It says I'm down, you gotta hide your love away. So this goes into Yesterday, It's Only Love, I Feel Fine, Ticket to Ride, Help, and then Norwegian Wood into the Rubber Soul era, and then goes up as far as Peppers, and then goes into Fool on the Hill, I'm the Walrus, and Across the Universe. So yeah, it sweeps across the later catalogue as well, but I like this one. Yeah, it's a fine collection. Sound quality on some of these now is, you know, a little bit under par and stuff like that because of the, you know, the masters they use and stuff like that. I reckon that this Anthology might get a demix sometime and you'll be getting it all over again. And this is Anthology Volume 3. Again, this is from 96. And this kind of explores the White Album. And then into Let It Be and Abbey Road. So yeah, I found this one, especially the first disc, I hate when that happens, found a little bit boring in some parts, you know what I mean? You know, the versions aren't riveting enough in some ways. That's a fantastic photograph of the roof. Yeah, it's funny, see people passing by on the street oblivious that the Beatles were up on the roof. Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, I just love watching that. I think it's incredible. It's yeah, it really is. Next up is number 1. Now this is 27 number 1 singles on one CD. I think at the time, this was back in 2000, they were trying to make a single album compilation of hits. And does it work? Let's see. Love Me Do, yeah. For Me to You, She Loves You, I Want to Hold Your Hand, Can't Buy Me Love, A Hard Day's Night, I Feel Fine, 8 Days a Week, Ticket to Ride, Help, Yesterday, Day Tripper, We Can Work It Out, Paperback Writer. They're all fine so far. Yellow Submarine, Eleanor Rigby, Penny Lane, All You Need Is Love, Hello Goodbye, Laney McDonough, Hey Jude, Get Back, Ballad of John and Yoko, Something, Come Together, Let It Be, The Long and Winding Road. Yeah, it's kind of, the later stuff isn't represented as much. Yeah, if you think about it, because Penny Lane wasn't on Peppers, but it's from that era. All You Need Is Love. Yeah, Hello Goodbye. Yeah, you see, Little Help From My Friends should be on it, really, shouldn't it? And A Day in the Life. Yeah, you need A Day in the Life. So yeah, it's left out a good bit, you know. At least Come Together is on it. But yeah, it's I suppose, look, they decided to make a, you know, it's still sold by the truckload, and there's some nice images as well of the actual artwork of the singles from different countries, which is great. Yeah, so that alone, it's probably worth it, you know what I mean? And look, it's not hard to find. There was a vinyl version as well at the time, but it looks really nice and it does the job. This is the 2015 edition in a kind of a digi pack soft box with a DVD. So there's videos on this as well. So it's probably worth getting, you know, compared to the other one. And then you've got sleeve notes and stuff as well. So there's kind of more in this package. So I would say this is probably worth getting your hands on as well, if you can. And yeah, so there's videos for everything here, and I think it's mirror image. I think it's seems to be mirror image of the CD track listing. Let It Be, Naked, right, in 2003. I think McCartney or something like that didn't like the original Let It Be, and he wanted to remix it. They take a lot of the kind of softness out of the original, but I like the original better than this. I like this because it kind of lets me in a bit, but it sounds a bit more rough. Yeah, I still go back to the original every time. So if you think about it, you've got Let It Be, and then you have the remix from a few years ago, and you also have this remix from 2003. So that's 3 different versions of it, and then you know, you've got the original vinyl and stuff. So that album has been tampered with a good bit. But yeah, it's not bad. I think there's 1 track less as well. You've got Get Back. It starts off with this time as well, yeah. So it doesn't start with 2 of us. And then Dig a Pony, For You Blue. The tracks are in different places. Long Winding Road, 2 of Us, I Got a Feeling, 1 After 909, Don't Let Me Down, I'm Me Mine. Across the Universe, Let It Be. And then there's another disc with Fly on the Wall, a unique insight into the Beatles at work in rehearsal and in the studio during January 1969. Yeah, so again, I got this just to complete the you know, complete. So you know, it just goes through everything here. You can read about the sessions and stuff like that. You're neither going to like it or you're going to hate it. Yeah, and like I said, the original kind of does it for me, so I'm not sure if I want to Let It Be Naked. So there you have it. That's my Beatles collection. I don't have much on vinyl really. I have got the red and the blue from the 70s. I think I've got 2 copies of Rubber Soul. I have a copy of Sgt. Pepper, and I have a copy of Revolver, but they're pretty tattered. They're actually tattered. Yeah, so that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Yeah, you know, like I said, I've been listening to the Beatles for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and you know, more than ever. And I'm just kind of, I suppose I'm learning about them more and more at the moment. There's so much to learn. The story is complex. It's fascinating. You know, I always kind of thought to myself, like, when they started writing the hits in the early 60s, did they know they were onto something? You know, they must have realized that, yeah, you know, the songs are so catchy, and I think everybody is influenced by the Beatles some way. Everybody has something that they like from the Beatles and something that they take from the Beatles. Yeah, it's incredible. So yeah, thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe and take care. And you know, you can let me know about your own experience with Beatles music right in the comments below, and take care.